Hello, everybody. It is the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus. Thanks for watching. It's Wednesday night, and we are live. I want to begin by talking about EAR, Ending All Racism. Little organization we're working to put together, and I'm going to make sure and mention it each and every episode. That I remembered to do. So it was pointed out that I didn't mention it in yesterday's episode, so I wanted to start out. Also, if you would, please consider subscribing and liking and sharing the channel, helping us grow. Going to raise a few topics and then take a few questions here on a Wednesday night. Again, thank you so much for watching. According to Forbes magazine and an article, they're going to be releasing $2.3 million of campaign donor money has been moved into Trump's private business. Again, that's according to Forbes. $2.3 million of campaign donor money has been moved into the private business. Now, you combine that with Rudy Giuliani, the former mayor of New York, who's constantly trying to raise money for lawsuits to keep Trump in office. And the fact that Donald Trump is about $300 million in debt, according to tax records. And his supporters say, well, he's got all these assets. Well, really, he doesn't have any assets. The bank is actually the owner of all the assets. He's just got his name on it. And a lot of Trump people are going to be pissed off at me, but I'm telling you what's happening to you. You're getting scammed, and it's happening as we speak. They're trying to raise money for lawsuits to keep the president in office. Now, also, it was quietly announced today that in 4 states, those lawsuits have been filed, those lawsuits have been withdrawn. So they're raising money for a non-existent legal fund, and it's a major scam, and it's a good one too because they're easy marks. They're happy to give their money to the scammers, and it's 4, 5, 6, 10 years down the road, you're going to look back and say, yeah, you were right. The guy was a major freaking crook. And you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes. All you have to do is just look at all the failed businesses and all the bankruptcies and all the lawsuits that are currently pending against him. All you have to do is just have a little dose of reality. But there are too many chumps. There are too many easy marks, and you're going to get angry at everybody but yourself. And you're the one that's, as I've said many times, who you follow says more about you than it does about them. So I hope, because they're good-hearted people. A lot of them are anyway. A lot of them are good-hearted people. Some of them I'm going to be talking about here in a few minutes aren't so good-hearted. But a lot of people that support Donald Trump think they're doing the right thing, and they're not. And they're not. The election is over. He did not win. He's not going to be president anymore, and we really need to move on. But there are obstacles in the way of that happening, including the possibility of yet armed conflict, which brings us to the Oath Keepers. I talked about the Oath Keepers yesterday, information that was leaked, including videos, audio chats, audio transcripts. So there's written information, there's audio, and there's video. And I had mentioned some of the more egregious things that jumped off the page, so to speak, the first time through, including a call to start killing media live on the air and to start executing anti-racists and liberals with extreme prejudice, with extreme violence, I believe is what the actual quote was, in order to prove a point, in order to elicit fear. And so we've got the Oath Keepers, and they're led by Stuart Rhodes. Now, how many are there? We don't know. Who are they? The majority of them are older white men. And Trump is their pillar for some reason. And I'd sure like to have one of them come on here and explain to me why. But in the past, these militias have been, they've been viewed with the possibility of danger, but they've proven to be more paper tigers in that they're a lot more talk. They're a lot more, it's all going to stay online, in other words. And let's hope that's the case. However, according to the information that has been leaked, they currently have 25 to 30 members residing in a barn or a garage that has been remodeled, that is near the property of a Lowe's home improvement center in Winchester, Virginia. According to the information, 25 or 30 of them are staying there. And if there is any action, we have a hint that it will come before Inauguration Day. And I want to read one more quote that I did not read yesterday. And this quote is from the leader of the group, Stuart Rhodes. And he said that what happened Saturday, November 14th, what happened this past Saturday, the Million MAGA March, where supposedly a million Trump supporters gathered. There weren't a million, but there were a significant number, and the numbers shouldn't be downplayed. But Stuart Rhodes says that on November 14th, that was the beginning of an ongoing operation. It was day one of patriots occupying DC. He says, Rhodes goes on to say that Trump has a responsibility and a duty to suppress that insurrection, repel the invasion of the communist Chinese and all their allies. I'm telling you straight up, guys, if he doesn't drop the hammer on this communist insurrection, we are going to end up fighting a bloody civil war in this country to defeat them. Horrific. Most of us are going to die. Now, a member interjects, I think regardless, that's going to happen, in quote on the member. And then Rhodes comes back in the conversation and says, well, sure, but it's better to fight it while he's commander in chief, he being Trump. We're not going to get out of this without a fight. That's a frigging fact. So we learn a few things from this statement. We learn that if there's going to be action, it's going to be before the inauguration, and it's probably going to be, again, as an excuse to keep Trump in office. I personally don't think we're getting invaded by Chinese. If there's a big major communist Chinese invasion going on, the mainstream media is doing a pretty good job of keeping it quiet, as well as those of us here in the alternative media world. If there's a big insurrection going on, and communist Chinese invasion, they're doing it pretty stealthily. this man's convinced there's going to be a civil war, and he's going to be convinced it's going to happen one way or the other. Now they've got. He says that Saturday was the beginning of this occupation. I'm assuming by occupation he's talking about the 25 to 30 people that are living in this barn garage that has been remodeled in Winchester, Virginia. That they are on standby outside of Washington, D.C., ready for the president to call them up. 25 or 30, they could do a lot of damage, but when you compare to the United States military or even the Capitol Hill police force, 25 or 30 should not be a major threat. So let's hope that this is all just talk. This is all just rhetoric, that this all just stays exactly where it's at, right here on the internet. But the some other information, the Oath Keepers are trying to integrate themselves into county sheriff departments all around the United States. And they even have an official outreach to county sheriff guide that's part of the printed material that I received. And the guide offers pointers on how to sidestep potential concerns about militia members seeking collaboration with county sheriffs. Oath Keep members are encouraged to offer to act as a deputized posse for their local sheriff. So they're going to volunteer themselves to local sheriffs as a posse to hunt down anyone that doesn't agree with them. Now, that's by definition fascism, and by merit, totally un-American. So I wanted to get all that out before I took a few questions. And again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for those of you that are there watching live. Yes, you got scammed on those Trump stakes. Yes, indeed, you got scammed on those Trump stakes, just like Trump Airlines, Trump University, Trump casinos, Trump vodka. You know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or study rock. You don't have to study rocket science. I often wonder exactly what else goes on Planet MAGA. Well, at the moment, what's going on Planet MAGA is that it seems that Donald Trump is coming closer and closer to understanding that he's not going to be president. However, he didn't lose the election. He's not going to concede. And frankly, I don't care, just so long as he goes away January 21st. And I'll tell you what, the more this goes on, the less I dislike the man, because this is all unnecessary. This is all un-American, and this is all so divisive and self-serving and petulant that sometimes I just want to call him a MAGA something, and he's still president of the United States. Now, I want to get back just for a second because something just popped into my mind. The quote I read from Stuart Rhodes, the leader of the organization, it says, the last part of it, if he doesn't drop the hammer on this communist insurrection, we're going to end up fighting a bloody civil war in the country to defeat them. Horrific. More of us are going to die. And he says, but it's better to fight it while he's commander in chief. So back to what goes on in Planet MAGA, it sounds like, according to this man, for some reason, he has in his head that President Trump is going to use the military while he's commander in chief. He's going to use the United States military to keep himself in office. If that's going on in Planet MAGA, that's incredibly dangerous. If that's the reason the troops are being brought home from Afghanistan and Iraq, that's incredibly dangerous. If the military stays loyal to Donald Trump, that's really incredibly dangerous. So again, my hope is that all of this is just talk. All of this is just rhetoric. All of this is just it's just extemporaneous bravado that's been intercepted and been leaked. Otherwise, we wouldn't know the thoughts of some. I asked the question weeks back: who's the enemy? That question is still valid. It is incredibly valid, and I do continue that to bring that question up. Who is the enemy? Are these people that call themselves patriots? Are they the enemy because they're delusional and they're following something that is not only un-American but destructive? And are we? Am I their enemy? Are we their enemy? It's a strange place we're in 2020. Sadly, we just had we've lost 250,000 people as of today. Today, the 250,000th death from coronavirus occurred in the United States. 250,000 people. Could we have saved all of them? No. Could it have been a significantly less number? Absolutely. Absolutely. All you have to do is look at statistics. Seriously, how does one know whose side one is on? That's a damn good question. And I don't carry a sign. I don't wear my ideology on my shirt either, Parias. And again, you know, I mentioned I'm worried. I'm concerned. I'm not fearful. I'm not hunkering down. I'm not I'm not building my own militia, so I know I've got somebody covering my back. I'm going to keep having trust and faith in the sensibility and the actual true patriotism of what I believe to be the majority of American people. And I'm going to keep believing that if there is some sort of insurrection, it's going to be incredibly small. It's going to be incredibly quickly put down, and it's going to be done in such a way that it's not ever conceived. It's not ever conceived again. We, as a people, our country is based on the peaceful transition of power at the ballot box. And as long as we maintain that, we have hope as a democracy and as a free country. When we lose that, we lose all hope of whatever the greatness the United States once was or could once be again. And it's incredibly dumb. Yeah. So I'm going to get off here. I'm going to let everything percolate. And if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, email me at americandoofus@gmail.com or find me on Facebook, American Doofus at American Doofus Facebook page. It's just American Doofus. It's not the American Doofus show. It's just American Doofus on Facebook. And normally I don't, but I'm going to be going through the comments later on tonight. For those of you that watch afterwards, those of you live, thank you for jumping up and commenting. Please subscribe, like, and share the program. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep talking about things that aren't getting talked about. Hopefully in a day or two, this will, somebody in the mainstream media will catch on to what's going on with these oath keepers, and it'll circle up as normally it does. We bring stuff up on this show, and then 3 or 4 days later it pops up in other places, and hopefully that's what happens, because this needs to be talked about. And I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching. I thank you for sharing and helping get this message out of what's going on with the Oath Keepers. And again, hopefully it's much ado about nothing, as Shakespeare wrote. Hopefully it's just online rhetoric and bravado. It's a bunch of men having a pissing contest, trying to impress Donald Trump, who could give two shits less about any of them or any of us. That's where we're at in America. It's the American Doofus Show. Thanks for watching. I love you all. I seriously do. I wish nothing but the absolute best for each and every one of you. I wish you blessings. I wish you peace. I wish you bounty. And as we head towards Thanksgiving, a week from tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I wish you joyous memories. I wish you peace, because a lot of us are going to be probably alone on Thanksgiving and through the holidays. Again, 250,000 dead as of today, and I can just about guarantee you that things will stay open through Christmas just for the economy. But once we get back past Christmas and before we get to New Year's Eve, a time when everyone normally gets together in mass, there will be a shutdown. There will be a shutdown because, and it may be state by state, but the numbers are trending too wrong. And it's because we haven't been responsible as a people. We've been irresponsible. It's been like we all live on the same boat, and one person decides, well, they want a hole in their wall. They don't care if water comes in and the whole damn boat drowns. I love y'all. I really do. It's the American Doofus Show. Thank you for watching. Please consider sharing, subscribing, and liking. And most of all, please don't be a doofus. I love you. Bless you. Be well. Stay alive.